expect with a big occasion like this. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
Will we be seeing Harry and Meghan?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm just giving you all the glitz and glamour, and we still come back to Harry and Meghan, don't we? But I mean,
well, you see, that's what the king should do with Prince Harry.
That way, Meghan Markle will no longer be the Duchess of Sussex, a place she is unlikely to visit, as by all accounts she has refused to set foot in the UK ever again.
The impossible finally happened. After months and even years of guessing, saying no, and secret palace whispers, King Charles did something nobody thought he would. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are no longer the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Of course, they were getting it from every which direction when, Meghan and Harry were off on their gallivanting, we want privacy tour.
Yes, you heard correctly. The special titles that once showed modern royalty and worldwide fame are now gone. Even people who work at Buckingham Palace say it happened in a very careful, dramatic way. It started with silence, the strange kind that makes reporters look at their phones twice. Early one morning, the royal family's website went offline for updates. A few hours later, people noticed something changed. A tiny update had rewritten royal history.
Pecking order, when you go to the website, now they're much lower down. They're below Princess Alexandra and Duke of Kent, because obviously they're not working members of the royal family anymore.
Where it used to say, Their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, it now just said Harry and Meghan. No royal titles, no Sussex, just their names. The internet went crazy. Within minutes, everyone was talking about it online. Big news shows stopped their regular programs. The palace's statement was very short, 67 words, but it shocked the world. It said the king decided that because of recent problems and worries about the monarchy's future, Harry and Meghan's titles were being taken away. They would have no more royal jobs. Inside Buckingham Palace, workers said everything felt super calm but cold. This wasn't a quick choice. It was planned for months, in secret meetings with a code name insiders now say was Operation Sovereign Cleanse. And who was leading it? Prince William.
It's my favourite source for royal news, and quite right, not that we're biased. Harry said in his BBC interview that he was forced to step away from royal duty due to security concerns.
For months, the two brothers had been angry with each other, but one senior helper said William had enough. He wanted to protect the monarchy no matter what. The source said the last straw came when reports suggested Meghan and Harry were making another show that would talk about royal money, something you absolutely cannot do in the royal family. William, Queen Camilla, and top advisors told the king it was time to act. And he did. In Montecito, California, the reaction was totally different. Insiders say Meghan was shocked. Her first words, caught by a documentary camera crew nearby, were a whisper. He wouldn't dare. Harry was pacing around their kitchen, his face red, switching between shock and anger. He always feared this might happen, but never really believed his father would actually do it.
Apparently, palace officials have been trying their hardest to strip Harry of his titles.
This wasn't just a title, it was who he was, his family history, his connection to everything he left behind in London. When that got taken away, something else inside him broke too. Back in London, royal reporters rushed to figure out what this meant. Was this a punishment? A final goodbye? Or something bigger, drawing a permanent line between working royals and the Montecito couple? Whatever the reason, the message was obvious. The Sussex experiment was over, and the king. Multiple insiders say he felt relieved. It was the hardest decision of his reign, one palace helper said, but also the most needed. Charles is now 76 and knows he won't be king forever. He worried about the monarchy losing respect while he was in charge. Harry and Meghan's constant criticism through interviews, books, and shows left a stain he couldn't ignore anymore. So in one quick planned move, he chose his legacy over his love for his son. But here's the really shocking part. This wasn't just a press release or symbol. This was a legal act. Palace insiders say the king quietly talked to experts and government ministers months before announcing it. A royal order had already been written and signed in secret. By the time the news came out, the decision couldn't be changed. This wasn't temporary, it was final. When Parliament found out that afternoon, even senior politicians were surprised. One member was heard saying,
does not distinguish between private or commercial use of the HRH. It reads, with the Queen's blessing, the Sussexes will continue to maintain their private patronages.
Meanwhile, in America, Hollywood reacted fast and harshly. Within hours, PR experts debated what this meant for the couple's brand. The Sussex titles gave them respect, realness, and royal mystery. Without them, Harry and Meghan were just another celebrity couple in California. The magic's gone, one industry insider said. Bluntly, they're not the Duke and Duchess anymore. They're just Harry and Meghan. That small difference was huge in the world of billion-dollar branding. Even Netflix bosses, who signed the Sussexes to a big deal, were looking at their upcoming projects again. One unnamed producer said more harshly, the appeal was always royal. Without that, it's hard to sell the fairy tale. In the following days, the press painted pictures of chaos in Montecito. Meghan's team was in overdrive. Lawyers were taking tons of calls. Harry was quiet and withdrawn. One insider said Meghan called all her PR staff to an emergency meeting, demanding total control of the story. We will define this story, she reportedly said. No one else.
Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired.
But as days went by, it became clear that even Meghan's powerful media machine might not be strong enough this time. This wasn't just another fight, another headline, or more royal gossip. This was final. The royal door had been closed and locked from the inside. Yet deep inside the palace, one question remained. Why now? Why did the king choose this exact moment? Some royal experts think it was a response to rumors about a second memoir that would be even more personal than the first. Others think it was William's growing power, showing that the future king was now shaping his father's reign. But one thing was certain. The monarchy had drawn its battle line, and the ex-Duke and Duchess of Sussex were standing on the other side of it. When the news broke that King Charles officially stripped Harry and Meghan of their titles, the world gasped. But inside the Montecito mansion, the gasp turned into anger. If Buckingham Palace thought Meghan Markle would accept this quietly, they didn't know her at all. Insiders say Meghan's first reaction was complete disbelief, then fury. She stormed out of a phone call with her PR advisors, slammed her phone down, and shouted, "This wasn't the polished Duchess the world saw at charity events and podcast interviews. This was Meghan unfiltered, the Hollywood fighter who'd climbed to the top before and wasn't going down without a fight."
Whether Prince Harry and the Duchess of Montecito should lose their official royal title.
Within 24 hours, Operation Phoenix was born, Meghan's codename for her revenge media plan. The goal: take back control of the story and strike back at the palace in a way that would hurt. She called her closest advisors, a tight group of stylists, publicists, and brand experts, to her Montecito home. One person there later described it as a war room disguised as a garden brunch. There were no fancy drinks or laughter, just laptops, coffee, and anger. She wasn't crying anymore, the insider said. She was planning. The first step was to rebrand quickly. Meghan wanted to move past the royal label and focus on her own name. Out went Duchess of Sussex. In came Meghan Markle, the woman, the movement, she told her. Team to redo her website, podcast plans, and new lifestyle brand, turning them into a huge global empowerment campaign. But the rebrand had an edge. Every press release, every social media post, every whisper to the press would quietly suggest the same story. Meghan didn't lose her titles. She outgrew them. Insiders say that was the heart of Operation Phoenix. Flip the embarrassment into victory and make the palace look small for trying to contain her. But in England, the palace wasn't fooled. King Charles and Prince William went into emergency meetings preparing for what they knew was coming: the counterstrike. A senior helper described the mood as a mix of worry and determination. They've seen what Meghan can do with a microphone, the source said. They knew this wouldn't end quietly. She'd turn her pain into a show. According to leaked reports, both the King and Prince William were told by top communication experts not to respond publicly. The official answer would stay no comment. But behind the scenes, they started preparing for a storm that would test the monarchy. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, whispers began spreading. Meghan's representatives had been reaching out to major streaming platforms, hinting at a new project about truth, strength, and starting over. To her critics, it sounded like another royal expose in disguise. To her supporters, it was the comeback of the decade, but not everyone was on board. Several Hollywood insiders who were once close allies quietly backed away. One studio boss was heard saying, "It was becoming clear that Meghan's fight for her reputation would be fought alone." At the same time, tension between Harry and Meghan hit a breaking point. While Meghan plotted revenge, Harry sank into silence. One insider said he spent hours alone, pacing their garden and calling his father's private line, which went unanswered. He was devastated, the source said softly. He kept saying, "He's my dad. How could he?" For Harry, the title wasn't about being fancy. It was about belonging, the connection to his family, his heritage, his late mother's world. Losing it felt like losing Diana all over again. But for Meghan, it was war. And that difference between Harry's heartbreak and Meghan's fury became the crack that threatened to break them apart. The first strike of Meghan's revenge plan came quietly. Not a tell-all interview or social media rant, but a leak.
William is planning to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles when he ascends to the throne.
A perfectly timed source, close to the Duchess, told a major American news outlet that Meghan felt betrayed and blindsided by the monarchy's decision. The article showed her as the wounded truth-teller, abandoned for daring to challenge tradition. It was emotional, sympathetic, and calculated. But Buckingham Palace wasn't buying it. Within hours, royal reporters started getting quiet background information, not official statements, but carefully placed hints from senior palace helpers. They suggested the title removal wasn't sudden, that Harry and Meghan had been warned months ago, and that the decision was about duty, not emotion. The message was clear. This wasn't personal, it was constitutional. Still, Meghan wasn't finished. She reportedly called her longtime Hollywood contacts, pushing for a major sit-down interview.